Tungal and Aedris were on the road for 2 days. They passed by the village of the clan Nuanui, who took their equipment with them. The biggest part of the population died in the haze, and it seems that the rosebush tracked down the survivors. A little part of the victims touched by the haze were not infected by it. However, the infected looked weaker out of the haze, and the clan could easily succeed to defeat them without a lot of losses. But the consequences of the attack were terrible for Slavvza. All the matriarchs and leaders of the clan died, and the clan Mjesesunda, Sumsina, and Nuanui were almost completely destroyed. The travelers used their time to thought about the allies they could found. Their first destination was Rohr, the capital of the Gaelic kingdom. In it was placed an important commandery of the Great Temple. Maybe it could be possible to ask military help from them. It was risky because the travelers were probably considered as heretics or criminals. It could be also interesting to visit the Red Palace, the embassy of the Radiant Empire in the Gaelic Kingdom. Ask from them for soldiers or materials could be an important help. The second point on their way was Ridanta, the capital of the Hellenic Empire. If this country would probably not give them soldiers, it was known for the expertise of its military logistics and the quality of the weapon created in it. Moreover, it would be possibly in that place that they could meet Asimis and Rangar and the result of their missions. And finally, Gattusa, the principal city of the Isinati Federation. And help from this country was not expected because of the division between the biggest families. But in it was located the Elf Castle, the embassy of the different Irodafos in Terebia. Even if the elves were not very good fighters, they could help for scouting. The organization of the army could also be a problem. Ineffective because of the contamination of the haze, they didn't want it to have a huge number of soldiers. So they needed very competent soldiers. And that was the difficulties. Generally, the kingdom didn't send elite troops to the groups which came their help. Because of that, if the king accepted to send them soldiers, it would be a group of new recruits or urban militia. Aedris and Tungal had a discussion about that. If Whitefield had been attacked by the haze, it could be a strong argument for asking some help. Moreover, none of the two travelers were generals. Tungal never led more than 20 soldiers, and Aedris never commanded any group. So, the management of an entire army, its logistics, the military strategies, or even the differences between the different regiments, or the number of soldiers general could lead, were not a competence. They didn't have the time to learn how to become generals, so they needed to find some of them. Aedris was worried about that point. Apart from the fact that a lot of generals hated the alchemist as her, she feared that they could use that army for their own interest. Tungal could not be against her. It was clearly a risk for them, but they didn't have the choice. However, he proposed to create their own regiment to be able to fight even if the rest of the army left them. Aedris made a list of the members they needed in it. She could use her abilities as a middle crown to lead an attack or protect the other members. Tungal could use his abilities with a crossbow to suppress an enemy from a long range, and his magic ability to stop the haze. They also thought about an assassin if they had to suppress a specific enemy, some archers to cover their retreat, and maybe swordsmen or spearmen to face a big number of enemies. A saboteur could also be useful if they had to destroy a gate or a wall. Recruit all that people would be difficult, and they hoped that Rengar could help them from that. Just because the border of the Gaelic kingdom, they decided to have a break. They used it to think about their arguments, the forms of politeness of the courts of war, and the way they could ask them. They also trained with their swords and crossbows. Finally, at the end of the day, they spent time telling each other spooky stories they heard during their childhood, like the stories of the young old man, the bloody inn, or the tooth taker. They finally went to sleep before to meet the king of Gali.